All right. In this video, we are talking about a cumulative binomial. So that is not like an x equals a certain number. It's like a more than or less than situation. So in our example, we have a study indicates that 4% of American teenagers have tattoos. You randomly sample 30 American teenagers. What is the likelihood that no more than 4 will have a tattoo? So these words right here, no more than 4, kind of indicate to me that this is going to be binomial. Kind of like how you know if it says normally distributed, you're going to use your normal distribution. But for this one, we're going to use our binomial. So we need to find the n, the p, and if it has no more than 4, that means that my x has to be less than or equal to 4. So no more than 4 means it can be 4, but less than that. All right, n is our sample size. So we have 30 American teenagers. P is my probability of success, which is 4%. So that is 0.04. All right, now I just need to go to my calculator to find my answer. So I'm going to come over to my NumWorks calculator. This is binomial distribution. But if you notice up here, my n is 7 and my p is 0.25. I got to change that because that was from my last problem. So I use my back arrow. And now my number of trials is 30 because there was 30 Americans. My p is my 4%, so 0.04. And now I need to choose one of my drop downs. So am I doing shade to the left, which is less than, shade between, which would be 2 x values, or shade to the right, which is greater than, or my last one is exactly. And since I'm going no more than, I need my first one. And I needed no more than 4. So I make sure that I've got my less than symbol. So probability x is less than or equal to 4. Hit enter. And then I've got my answer. Also, you will notice I've got all of these bars. So this is probability x is 0, and then 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. And then if you can see these teeny tiny little ones down here, I've got 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way up to 30. All right, if it is not orange, if it's gray, that means it is not included in this total over here. So this total is these 5 bars added together. So this is the probability that x equals 4, plus the probability that x equals 3, plus the probability that x equals 2, plus the probability that x equals 1, plus the probability that x equals 0. So my answer is going to be 0.994. But to indicate what we were actually calculating, we can't just write our answer. So we either need to write that I'm finding the probability that x equals 0 plus the probability that x equals 1 plus the probability that x equals 2. Oops. All right, so I've noticed in class that some of us actually like to write out all of these steps. And that is perfectly fine. And then you can use that exactly button and find each individual number and add them up. That is perfectly fine, just like you do when you're graphing. But if you don't want to do that and you want to use the shorter method that I just showed you, you just need to tell me that you are finding the probability that x is less than or equal to 4. And that equals that number that we got from our calculator. So over here, the number for my calculator was 0.994. So this turns into a 0.994. And then we need to write our sentence. So we would say the probability that a randomly selected teenager from a group of 30, well, we would say not a randomly selected teenager, the probability that 4 or fewer randomly selected teenagers from a group of 30 has a tattoo is 0.994. And that's how we would do that one. Now this one down here, oops. So my next example, it's the same situation. So I still have my group of teenagers. So my N is still 30. My P is still 0.04. But now we're looking for the probability that less than 4. So now X is less than 4. So less than 4 means we're not going to include the 4. So I'm just looking for the probability that X equals 0 plus the probability that X equals 1 plus the probability that X equals 2 plus the probability that X equals 3. So to indicate that in my calculator, notice how the last number that I wrote down was the 3, right? That's the highest that it went to. So when I go to my calculator, I need this number in here to be a 3 because the highest number it can be is 3. So I change that to 3 and hit enter. And then my answer is going to be 0.969. So the probability that X is less than 4 is 0.969. And then don't forget to write your sentence. That's all there is to it.